Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, Quincy. With the holiday season upon us, it's easy for schedules to become crammed with shopping, cooking, parties, and so many other things that go along with the holidays, right?
Yeah, Cheryl. And while these are fun activities, the sheer number of things that we try to pack in can leave us feeling stressed out and not feeling very festive. We're here to let you know it doesn't have to be that way this year. And Dr. Elizabeth Fedrick has some tips on how to make the holidays both fun and relaxing. Welcome to Main Street Living, Doctor.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we all experience some level of stress over the holidays. I'm sure that's true. But for some people, it can just take all the joy out of everything. So, what are kind of the most common sources of stress during the holidays?
Yes, absolutely. The holidays, definitely, that is just something that comes along with it. They are stressful. But some of the aspects that increase the stress, so time is one of them. So just not having enough time to get things done, but also the increased number of events that we're expected to attend and running all over the place. The money aspect can also be really stressful for a lot of people, trying to budget for all the people you want to buy gifts for. And then being around people that potentially we've been trying to avoid the rest of the year can also create a little bit of stress.
Yeah, I would.
It's unfortunately true.
Yeah, I would certainly think so. And Dr. Elizabeth, my question is it up to each of us to learn how to cope with these stresses, like a family member or something like that, or are there ways for us to keep it from happening in the first place?
Sure, that's such a good question. So yes, we do have to learn some of these skills, whether that's removing ourselves from a situation, that's taking some deep breaths, grounding, whatever we have to do to tolerate that. But there's also, setting boundaries and managing our expectations going into the holidays can also be really helpful. And so setting boundaries around how much money we're spending, how much time we're willing to give away, who we're willing to be around, and even what we're willing to talk about can be really beneficial for being proactive and managing that stress.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you tell us more about that? What are some suggestions for planning a less stressful holiday season?
Yes. So first and foremost, I encourage my clients to start with setting a budget when it comes to gifts. So identify who is everyone you're wanting to buy for, what's the total dollar amount you're wanting to spend. So don't even start to identify for each person yet. And then once you have that list and the dollar amount, then kind of go through and figure that out. How much you spend on the dog walker might not be how much you spend on your mother-in-law. Potentially,
I don't know.
I could be wrong, but you kind of figure that out. Who are you spending money on and where? That can be really helpful. And then you just stay focused. That's the amount you're spending. And the other part would be, having boundaries around where you're spending time and saying no to events. Sometimes it's really hard to say no, but you don't have to go to all events. And if you do, have an escape plan. Have something prepared, ready to leave maybe by 8 or 9 o'clock that night, so that you're not then exhausted the next day.
See, that's my problem. I don't know how to say no. I feel like I have to stretch myself and be everywhere at every time. And see, in the real
because you're the life of the party, Quincy.
Well, I try to be, right? But when it comes to trying to plan less, does that mean that I'm potentially missing out on the fun?
Oh, I mean, that is such a valid concern, right? I would have to venture a guess that you would actually end up having a more enjoyable holiday season because you're going to be a whole lot less stressed than everyone else around you.
Right.
And maybe you do attend all the events, but maybe you limit the amount of time you're there. Maybe you show up and you be the life of the party and then you cut loose early, whatever that looks like. But managing a little bit of that, you are going to be in such a better place than for the next event or for the next, even the next day when you're trying to get your to-do list done for the holidays. Yeah. You're not feeling as drained.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season and the gifts and all of these things, but that just adds to the stress here. What are some things we can kind of do to pull the focus back on what's really important here?
Great point. Yes. And it really is about family, right? So it is family, it's friends, it's spending time with the people that we really care about. And so putting that in perspective, when we start to get stressed out, when we start to get overwhelmed and it's not even feeling fun anymore, just like put a pause on that, like take a second. Okay, what is this really about? This is really about enjoying the people that I love and that are important to me. And another thing that can be really helpful is to really focus on what's within your circle of control. So we can't control everything. We can't influence everything, but there are things we can, such as the amount of money we spend, the amount of time we're willing to give away, the topics of conversation. Focus on what you're able to control.
Ooh, well, let me just add something. I can't control how much food I want to take back home with me.
A lot of control we're asking
so
for.
many cookies and all types of things. So that's a lot of I guess control. Maybe I'll listen to Janet Jackson. Control, right?
You can control the Tupperware you put in your suitcase that you bring with you, or the Ziploc bags that you put in your backpack. You can be prepared for all the food you want to take home.
Got you. Well, lastly, how can we control the conversational topics? I know that's usually really big.
Yes, that is such a concern for a lot of people. Again, we can't control what other people say or do, but we do get to control what we participate in and what we engage in. And so if a conversation comes up that we're not comfortable with, that maybe it's creating like, okay, this doesn't feel right. This is really uncomfortable. We can gently redirect the conversation. We can blatantly say, hey, I'm not really comfortable talking about this. And if all else fails, we can get up and remove ourselves from the situation. Bathroom break. Like, we can go get some more food, go fill up your Ziploc bag. We can find ways to remove ourselves from the situation. And that's usually the most effective way of controlling that.
Well, there you have it.
Prepared. I feel prepared now for the holidays, but where can our viewers find more helpful tips from you, more information?
Sure. So my website is evolvecounselingaz.com. And I'm also very active on Instagram at Dr. Elizabeth Fedrick.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for all the tips.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, Danielle, we're going to woosah. Just put your hands together. We're going to woosah.
Yeah, please. Just get me through the holidays.
So we can avoid any potential stresses, because up next is all about Thanksgiving and that tasty side dish. Is it greens, beans, tomatoes, potatoes? We don't know.
He's on a roll.
We'll be right back.